Hi everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel of Pratham Test Prep. My name is Hema Chaudhary and today I'm here with a video on the trending term called quiet quitting, right? So if we talk about this particular term, we can say that this is a term which is, trending in the work environment or work culture from past few ones. So in this video, we will be talking about what exactly is this term quiet quitting, why this term is trending and why is it happening. Also, we will be talking about the employees who are involved in the quiet quitting, right? What are the types of employees who are employed in it or who are involved in it? And also at the end, we will be talking about very briefly about the impact of quiet quitting, right? So first, let's just quickly understand that what exactly is this term quiet quitting. Now we will be talking about what is quiet quitting. So if we look at the term, it says quiet quitting, but we need to remember here that quitting has nothing to do with, quitting your job, but it simply means quitting doing anything extra at your job or quitting the idea of going above and beyond at your work, which means we can say that quiet quitting means doing only what your job demands and nothing more or nothing extra. Quitting doing anything extra simply means that leaving work exactly at the end of one's work shift, right? So we can say that, yeah, right, when we talk about quiet quitting in this, people still show up for their work but stay strictly within the boundaries of their job requirement, doing nothing extra, doing nothing more. And if they are doing anything extra or doing anything additional, right, then demanding extra pay for their additional work. That what is exactly quiet quitting means. So we can say that it simply means that those employees who are following quiet quitting, they are no more helping out with additional tasks or checking emails outside work hours. So for those people who have their working hours from 10 to 7, we can say that they leave their work exactly or dot at 7 p.m. and they don't prefer checking their emails outside their work hours before 10, after 7. So it simply means that doing the bare minimum at your job, putting in the least amount of effort that is required to get your job done. Do not go beyond the call of duty. Shut your laptop at 5, 6 or 7 depending on the working hours. Check out of work mentally, physically and emotionally. So their simply attitude is, sorry boss, I'm done because my working hours are not anymore, right? So this is what exactly quiet quitting. So when we talk about that, why is quiet quitting happening, we need to understand the base of this quiet quitting or the reasons behind it. So if we look at the past 2.5 years, we can say that these 2.5 years, or we can say since the pandemic, right, the work culture has been significantly changed. After nearly 2.5 years of work from home culture, people are not ready to adapt the previous work culture, right? Because when we talk about this, pandemic work culture, it has provided alternate work cultures in which people are more comfortable. And when we talk about this remote work culture, that doing work from home, doing work from anywhere, this remote work culture has fueled this quiet quitting movement in several ways, right? Kaise? So let's just quickly talk about that. So firstly, we can say that it has increased the number of hours employees spend working their work. Does it also contributed to increase the level of burnout, the level of stress, or we can say that it increased the number of working hours. Secondly, we can also say that while employees have shown varying levels of productivity for decades, this remote work culture has also allowed those same employees to slack off noticing. So yes, when we talk about work from home culture, we can say that it has so many advantage, but it has so many disadvantage also. So this kind of flexible work hours, digital meetings at the comfort of home, right? All these things have altered the, work culture and work environment that people now prefer. So when we talk about this, we can say that after experiencing the benefit of such arrangement, workers may be reluctant to go back to the old way of doing works or old way of doing things. And that is why we can say that this quiet quitting thing is booming a lot. And किस तरह के एम्प्लॉयज में ज्यादा देखी जा रही है, द टाइप ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज विच more prefer, right, who more prefer quiet quitting are not the older generation. We can say that these are the younger employees. And when we talk about younger employees, an increasing number of young workers, they have grown tired of not getting the recognition or compensation for putting in extra hours. There is an issue with a lot of companies where we can see these kind of issues happening. They are saying no to burnout and instead focusing on the work and life balance. They are more focused on, balancing their professional life and their personal life. And when we talk about this work life balance, young people are more focused toward this balance of work and life. And when we talk about this movement is centered around self preservation and acting your wage, right? So we can say that when we talk about the 2.5 years of work from home culture, the significant changes in the work culture, it has led to the ways towards quiet quitting. Now, this scenario is also suggesting that if younger people, younger employees are inclined towards the quiet quitting thing, then that means that obviously there is something wrong with the traditional work culture, right? So we need to understand here that there is a difference between task and extra task. And when we talk about quiet quitting, it gained popularity in response to the pandemic induced burnout, and it is popular among the young people who in many ways we can say that have suffered through the worst of these surreal times. Right now, quiet quitting is not a good thing. When we talk about the a good part and the bad part of anything, we can simply say that quiet quitting is not a good thing. And the notion of quiet quitting, it also suggests that the traditional work culture, the traditional work environment, it has set a norm where people have to perform extra, where people have to do some extra work, often undesirable tasks outside their job description. And if they are not willing to do that extra or additional work, that is considered as a form of quitting your job. But it is not correct, right? So we need to understand the work culture. We need to understand the requirement of the changes in the work culture with the period of time. And we need to understand that doing task and doing extra task, it is different. These are two different things. But quiet quitting is not an option, because when we talk about the impact of quiet quitting on one person's career, it has a long-term impact on that person's career. It has a long-term effect on that person's productivity. So quiet quitting is not an option. Now, when we talk about the reasons behind quiet quitting, there is not just one any factor, right? So first we talk about the scenario which created a situation for the quiet quitting, that is pandemic situation, and the work culture that we followed during that pandemic. But when we talk about the factors responsible for quiet quitting, there is a pyramid for that. And all these factors are responsible for quiet quitting approach of the employees. First is lack of communication, right? Lack of communication between the inferiors and the superiors, the juniors and the seniors, the employees and the management. Second, lack of sense of belonging, right? So if a person is putting so much of extra hard work, and if there is a lack of sense of belonging, it will always discourage the employee to put their extra work, to put their extra effort there. Next, lack of feeling valued, similar to the lack of sense of belonging, right? So if a person is putting extra effort, if a person is doing additional work and still there is a lack of feeling valued, it will discourage the employees to do that, and it will automatically push the employees towards the quiet quitting. Then lack of consistency and lack of trust, these are another factors which can be responsible behind the quiet quitting. So apart from all these factors, we can also say that forcing employees to do additional or extra work or unpaid work, right, that is in more in number, we can say that directly or indirectly we are pushing the employees towards the quiet quitting. But as I said earlier also, quiet quitting is not an option. We need to change the work culture, we need to change the work environment, we need to, identify the problems, and we need to target those problems and try to solve those problems, in which this quiet quitting is not an option. Quiet quitting is not the solution. So as I said, forcing employee to do this extra unpaid work is obviously wrong. But when we talk about the quiet quitting, it has also raised important questions that who is actually doing much of this unpaid labor, right? So I'm just putting one example here. There are so many examples, but I'm just quoting a book here, which is The No Club, Putting a Stop to Women's Dead End Work, right? So women, for example, we can say that they are asked and expected to take on work that no one else wants to do. For example, planning for the office party, attending to that time consuming client, right? Or we can say that keeping the track of, employees birthday, keeping the positive vibes in the, your department, etc., etc. So this is just one example of it, and we need to stop doing that so that we are not in the position of pushing our employees towards the quiet quitting. Apart from that, if we talk about the research and everything, the human resource professionals, in fact, the top CEOs of top CEOs of top companies, they say that yes, leaders are concerned about quiet quitting. They are concerned about whether they can rely on their employees if there is a recession, or if they can afford to fire their employees and replace quiet quitters in a tight labor market, right? So the point here is we need to address the problem and not to fire these quiet quitters. We need to address the problem why people are inclined towards the quiet quitting. We need to address that particular problem. And yes, executives are worried about the quiet quitting, because when we talk about the impact of quiet quitting, it can impact the company's productivity as well, right? So these are the important pointers that we need to focus on while talking about quiet quitting. And last but not the least, if we talk about the impact of quiet quitting, we can say that work experts says quiet quitting can have impact on an individual's long-term career and productivity, and also it can badly impact the company's productivity. So yes, when we talk about quiet quitting, we can say that it should be avoid in any companies, and if there are quiet quitters in the company needs to address the problem and solve it as soon as possible. So all these things are important when we talk about this trending term, which has started from a 17-second TikTok video, then statement from different celebrities, right? So yes, quiet quitting is a trending term in the work culture or work environment. And yes, there is a difference between quiet workers, quiet quitters, and yes, when we talk about relentless working and quiet success also. So today we talked about quiet quitting. There is a term called quiet work, quiet success, relentless working, etc. So in the coming videos, we will be talking about different trending terms and other important trending topics. So till then, bye everyone. Bye-bye. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy. And if you like our video on the quiet quitting, please like the video, share the video, subscribe the channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notification of all the upcoming videos. Bye everyone. Thank you for watching the video.